Hello, everybody, and welcome along back to the channel, back to another video. Let's do the intro and let's get right into it. Yes, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and another video. And it's me again, all by myself. Hente's here. Good evening, Hente. Good to see you as always. So yeah, I know the last time that I did a video, I promised that we'd go back to the original format of me with other people. It's becoming more and more difficult as the weeks pass to find people that want to come and speak about Arsenal at the moment. It's a real struggle with what's going on at the moment to get a group of us all together, and plus, family commitments and other things. It doesn't help matters. But I've tried to be as consistent as I can be this season, regardless of what's happened. If I can get a group of us to come on here, I'll do it. If I have to do it by myself, even though I can't abide really doing these shows on my own, I'll come and give you guys something. I'll try in some shape or form to present my views to all of you about the great club that we all support and love. But yeah, since that last show, obviously we've had two games. Both weren't wins, so that's going to be, it's going to be absolute fun. This is going to be a barrel of laughs and a bunch of joy, as per. But yeah, first and foremost, we had Brighton. Going into that, there was all this about a sickness bug and fitness and everything else, and the lineup to me was a bit of a shock. Obviously, you had no Odegaard or no Martinelli in the side. Obviously, you knew Thomas Partey was going to be playing right back with Timber being suspended. Jorginho come in at the number 6, which probably was going to happen. Rice and Moreno played as the 2H. Rice playing in that right 8 that he does for England. He's never played there for Arsenal, but that's where he normally plays for England. Moreno in that left 8 space. And Calafiori was brought back at left back. And we had a forward line of Ethan Nwaneri on the right-hand side, Trossard on the left-hand side, and obviously Gabriel Jesus up top. And going into the game, the goal from Ethan Nwaneri was sublime. It was a nice bit of play from Declan Rice into a tight space, into Moreno, who fed Nwaneri, who went on a run, and the Brighton backline, they just kept backing away, and Ethan was just like, brilliant. Yeah, give me that space. And yeah, he finished it. He finished it superbly, and it was a really, really nice goal for the lad. And we had a chance at the other end where Adingra, Arsenal carelessly playing out the back, which we've done a lot in the recent games, and he really should have put it away, and he'd have proved costly there. And we also had another chance where Ethan Nwaneri, right before the end of the half, he actually nearly scored directly from the corner. I don't think Jova had that in his plans of players actually scoring directly from the set pieces. But yeah, that hit the post, and we had another chance for a set piece where Gabriel, he was taken out off the ball in the build-up, but Gabriel Jesus headed it over with Moreno just following up behind him, and they sort of like clashed and smashed into each other. But yeah, Gabriel again getting tugged over in the box and not given anything. Both of these situations, the one with the lap against Ipswich and this one with O'Reilly against Brighton, both arguably penalties. I think that the lap one's worse, but yeah, I think both instances potentially could have been penalties given there. But I don't want to, dig out referees too much when. Well, I will later on when we're talking about this game, but you don't want to dig out referees too much and make it sound like excuses as to why Arsenal aren't winning when really, we could have been doing a lot more ourselves. But yeah, second half, Brighton, they get the penalty, don't they? And it's an absolute farce. It's never a penalty. You won't see another one of these given or following, on this season. You will not see this happen again. It's another joke. Pedro has sold the ref a lie, and the refs bought it. And it was amazing how the gutter press and the TV presenting side of things has covered this. Apart from Match of the Day, And obviously Jay Bothroyd, the ex-Arsenal youth player, who was the only person on Sky, funny enough, that was like, this is never a penalty in a million years. All the other Sky people that I saw and watched all said it was a penalty. And isn't that convenient that the people that are on the channel that have the programme from Howard Webb all supported the fact that it was a penalty, yet BBC, who have nothing to do with Howard Webb or this VAR programme and puff pieces, as we like to call them, they were like, that's never a penalty in a million years. It's funny that the ones that don't have a direct feed into VAR all said it wasn't a pen, yet the ones that do all said it was. But yeah, Pedro then converted the penalty for 1-1. And during the penalty, Arsenal were very, very fortunate. Jorginho took a swipe out at a player, didn't he? I thought he should have got red carded for that. Very, very lucky there. Again, Brighton, we made changes in the game, but ultimately it just didn't lead anywhere. All the changes that were made, they had no impact when they come on. And it was sad to lose Nwaneri, who looked in those last two games to be a real asset and a real game changer in Bukayo Saka's absence. And other first team regulars, they're constantly underperforming in that wing role. And Nwaneri took the shirt and was like, I'm keeping it until obviously Bukayo Saka can come back this season, which I don't believe is going to happen, by the way. I still believe Bukayo Saka is finito for this season. I don't think he's coming back. But yeah, it was another lackluster performance from Arsenal on the day. And then heading out of that Brighton game, we have the game against Newcastle, and we arguably play our full strength side other than Bukayo Saka, and it's another lackluster performance from Arsenal. We had countless opportunities, mainly from set pieces, and a great chance from Gabriel Martinelli, which we just didn't take. We just did not take any of our chances whatsoever. And I can recall maybe 4 or 5 headers from no further than 5 yards out. I mean, there's the one that Jurriën Timber headed over. That one sticks out. And obviously the main one is the Kai Havertz one, which he just reads completely. It just comes off his shoulder and his arm, I think, in the end. It just completely misread the situation. And Hente, did you watch the Newcastle game on Sky or ITV? I watched it on Sky, Hente, because ITV, I don't like Sam Matterface, and unfortunately, I don't like Lee Dixon as a commentator. Lee Dixon, along with even Alan Smith, I don't know what it is when they commentate Arsenal games, but they're absolutely unbearable, mate. They are just so not what you. I'm not expecting them to be completely biased towards the club, but they're just really like insufferable with some of their takes about what they say. So yeah, I actually did watch this on Sky, and Sky actually had Theo Walcott on as a pundit. He's one of the few. I know, Hente, that you watch a lot of the podcasts that I also contribute to, and me, Mike, Neil, and Jack, and everything from Purely and Arsenal above all, we all quite like Theo Walcott as a pundit. He's actually, in terms of Arsenal, he's one of the most balanced, and I think he's one of the most fairest. I know ages ago, Micah Richards, when he was on Sky, said whenever there's something with Arsenal, it becomes a pile-on. And I do feel that is even with ex-Arsenal players, I feel that they lump in and lump on Arsenal a bit just to maybe gain traction for podcasts that they do or for their channels respectively, what they put out. And we got another comment here as well from Sufien. Hello, mate. Newcastle becoming a true forward in our sides every time it's a cup final for them. Yeah, they ever since the game, especially up there when they got that controversial goal, I think they've loved that it rattled Arsenal so much. I think obviously it wound up Arteta, it wound up the fans, and yeah, I think they really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, it is becoming a bit of a hot game, Arsenal Newcastle. But yeah, obviously Alexander Isak, he scores his goal. Arsenal, they give away a stupid free kick, and it's punted long, and Dan Burn, he wins the flick on, and Gabriel and Havertz don't read it, and it comes off Murphy, lands at Isak, who's up against Martin Odegaard of all people. And Odegaard, for me, he should never, we've had praise all season about our set pieces from an offensive standpoint and a defensive standpoint. But this was just so mismanaged. Why Martin Odegaard is the guy that's trying to protect us from Isak is a ridiculous setup. But I mean, he's claiming a push, but that's never going to get given, and especially it's not going to get given when you stay on your feet. If Martin Odegaard topples over, we probably get that, and I don't necessarily like sitting here saying you need to buy and play the refs a bit to get something, but we all know what football's like now. We all know this happens. Manchester City are masters of buying fouls and giving away a late foul, and they never get carded. I mean, it's harder for Arsenal because we get carded for everything. If we'd have done that, Odegaard probably would have got booked for diving. But yeah, when you stay on your feet like that, you're never going to get given. You're never going to give the shove. And the second goal again, collectively, it's terrible to concede. I mean, Martinelli and Lewis Skelly, they're failing at trying to close down Murphy. Rice and Partey, they just allow Isak to drift straight in. And David Raya made a great save, but it lands to Gordon, and Timber's not quick enough to close him down either, and they tap it in for 2-0. And this is where sort of my real anger and frustration comes out about Arsenal at the moment, because we went down on the 51st minute and he made no substitution in a semi-final other than Jorginho and Zinchenko. He went like for like, stuck it at 4-2-3-1. But Jorginho, I thought was okay when he come on, but Zinchenko's not going to win you a game. I don't care if you're the biggest Zinchenko fan going. You are deluded if you think that bringing on Zinchenko is going to win you the game. And all of the new signings that we made, we didn't make a single attacking signing other than Sterling on loan, who, again, that's debatable how that one's gone. But even then, he was on the bench, and every other summer signing was on the bench. And he fought with our previous director, Edu, to make these signings. Edu it's all been revealed. It's nothing, I'm not speculating here. I'm not saying anything out of turn. It's all been revealed that Edu had serious reservations about these players, but he said to Arteta, no, if you want them, we'll get them. And we made no significant attacking signing. And yet every single one of his summer signings sat on the bench on their hands, watching that defeat. He didn't have faith to bring any of them on to try and change that game. And that, to me, absolutely stinks. It stunk from Mikel. And the fans from about the 75th minute just leaving in droves as well, because they had no belief that we were going to pull that game back. And that is a shocking indictment currently of how fans view these players and view this manager. For me, it really, really is. It was a tough one to take. It really was. It was a really, really tough game to watch and then dissect after, because there was so much. I don't like sitting on here being visceral and being angry about what's going on, but I can only say what I see, and what I saw against Brighton, and even worse, what I saw against Newcastle, just compounded to me how bad it's looking at the moment. For those two games, obviously the Brighton and the Newcastle game, I do my man in the match, and I picked Declan Rice. I thought Declan Rice, especially in the Newcastle game, was one of our only players that generally looked like he had a drive and a care to do something to mitigate this loss. He was really striving and carrying the ball and playing like the game-changing Declan Rice that we saw last season, because this season for him hasn't been one of his best, but he's slowly coming back round to the level that I expect and want from him. And I hope it continues, because we need a lift from anywhere we can get it at the moment, because right now, like I said, Arsenal are in a real slump. And I know Arteta had the press conference yesterday, and some of the comments that he made were very much directed upwards, possibly in an attempt to try and make them do something in this window. But I think a lot of it is down to Arteta himself, because we've chased attacking players, but unless they're these ones that he particularly wants, they're the ones that he thinks are going to make a difference. We then end up just neglecting it altogether. At the moment, we're one injury away in a forward position from having to play kids that have never played a minute for us in any competition whatsoever. And you're trying to tell me as well that we're still competing on four fronts. What other team in world football is competing on four fronts with just academy product players? It just doesn't add up. I don't buy that. For me, I think if you can't get what you really want, pivot to something different. We've done this before. We wanted Caicedo and we wanted Mudryk. We ended up getting Trossard and Jorginho. Now, at the moment, Trossard is, Trossard's awful for me at the moment. He's doing my head in watching him play at the moment, Trossard. But when he first come in, he gave us such a lift. Just pivot. Just. I can't take that this club behind me on this wall cannot find an attacking player that currently can offer us more than Martinelli, Sterling, Trossard, Jesus, and even Havertz is giving us. I refuse to believe that even with a temporary sporting director, I do not believe that Arsenal cannot find a single attacking player that can offer us more than what we have already. I just, I find that to be complete and utter bollocks. And the longer this continues and the more and more we sit on our hands, the more visceral myself and others will get, because I see the tides turning. People are getting fed up. And obviously, when you get so close, your expectation level goes up. It doesn't drop down. And now the expectation level is so high that you've got to meet it. You've got to meet it. You've got to go in this window. And even if you don't buy the superstar world beating player that you want, get someone that's on that lower run, but that can give us a lift. All them years ago, Sylvain Wiltord wasn't a world class player. Reyes, God rest his soul, he wasn't a world class player, but he come in, he gave us a lift and pushed us on. And that's what you need. That's what you need to be doing. I've got another comment here as well. I love Trossard so much. He lives 2 miles from me, but he's checked out mentally and it's visible. Happened at Genk, happened at Brighton. Yeah, it did. Still believe he can contribute to us winning something this season. But that relationship is over. Yeah. This is a thing. People need to learn the history with these players. Towards the end, yeah, like you said, at Genk and at Brighton, he started kicking up a fuss, and then he was eventually, kicked out of the clubs, basically. So he's got a pattern for it, sadly, and it looks as though that pattern's carrying on. I mean, I think since Aston Villa this season away, obviously he scored and helped us. He actually changed that game, but I think his attitude's been absolutely appalling. Other than the PSG game where he put in a brilliant cross for Havertz's goal, I think Trossard's been, just really, really poor. Just such. I feel like he's playing for himself, in that if he scores or gets assists, it bumps his value up for a move. I just don't feel that he's playing like a collective player at the moment. I feel like he's really, really self-indulgent, and we can't have that. We need to be firing on all cylinders as a unit. You can't go in there, and try and take matters into your own hands to help your vested interests. We need something that helps the club's interests. But going into this next game, Man United at home, and I always do a predictive lineup, and I've got one here for you. So I want David Raya to stay in goal against Manchester United. I know Neto's been signed, but I'm sorry, needs must. I don't want to be playing a goalkeeper that has not played for Arsenal so far in a game of this magnitude, in a competition that we need to go far in and potentially win, because we have to win something this season. We can't just keep, diminishing trophies. I saw people after the Carabao game saying, "Oh well, it's the Mickey Mouse." Who are we to diminish any? We haven't won anything for 5 years. Don't be diminishing any trophy whatsoever. We haven't won that trophy for 30 plus years. So yeah, we've got to win something. Arteta's got to have it for him, and these players need it for them as well. But yeah, going back into this team, obviously Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, they pick themselves. I've put Calafiori in there. I think he's going to rotate Skelly out and put Calafiori in for this. Midfield, I've gone for Rice, Odegaard, and Moreno. And then I would obviously play Gabriel Jesus wide and Havertz up top. But I think he's going to stick with this. I think he's going to do what he did the other night, in where he had Havertz as a wide man and then Jesus come on and played up top. I think that's what he's going to do for this game. So we will see what happens there. And the core of this team is strong, and I feel the bond between them is strong. The core 5 to 7, but another rebuild is coming / needed, and we haven't even finished this one. Yeah, that's another big discussion I'm having. If we're going to have to do another big rebuild, I don't know if I trust Mikel Arteta to rebuild it. Sorry, I've gone there. until he's got more trophies and under his belt, I don't know if I can trust him with another rebuild. I don't. Yeah, I don't think he should be allowed to do that. I think he's had plenty of money and plenty of years. So I think you would need fresh ideas, because the core nucleus of this team, especially if we win nothing again, 2 or 3 are going to leave. And like you said, that's then going to have to be torn apart and rebuilt. And yeah, I'm still backing him. There's no manager for me that I want to do well more than Mikel. But I think another trophyless season, I don't know. For me, I don't know how you can continue to back that. It baffles me how people still would then say, no, he's the best man to lead us forward. Because what's the evidence? What evidence are you using to say that, other than we've got really close but never, Brendan Rodgers got Liverpool to the finishing line, but it was Jurgen Klopp that helped them cross it. And that's how I feel slightly with Arteta at the moment. I'm happy to be proved wrong. I'm happy to eat the humble pie. So I'm hoping that happens. But yeah, tomorrow, funny enough, I've backed Arsenal to win 2-1. I think Arsenal are going to beat Man United tomorrow. That's probably going to come back and bite me on the arse. But there we go. I think Arsenal 2-1 tomorrow. I'm nervous playing in that white kit. And I'm also very nervous because they seem to raise their game against bigger sides, especially when they need to. They got the result at City. They got the result at Liverpool. So there's something brewing there, especially when they play big games and a big occasion. And, he's probably looking at Ruben Amorim going, FA Cup's probably a trophy I could potentially win. Ten Hag won it, and he backs himself as a better manager than Ten Hag is. So he's probably looking at the FA Cup going, that's something that I could win. And that would boost his, profile in terms of being a Man United manager. So, yeah, very, very tricky. I think it's going to be a dangerous game tomorrow, but I'm still predicting Arsenal to win 2-1. And we have a very emotional bond with Arteta, but objectively, his style is so intense and training is so intense. You can see it in the players' performance. If they don't win this time, he might lose them. I think it's already started. I think there's a few players there at the moment that are on the verge of, we're all receptive. We can all feel and see things, and I think once that comes down from the fan base, I think it feeds into the players, and I think some of them players, especially if they win nothing again this season, they might start to think, is that the guy? They'll start thinking about their futures, because we know the talent. We know the talent. It's just, getting it. Like I said, it's getting it over the line. I don't know if you're being serious with that sarcasm there, Hensei, because I feel like I've been quite open with it a bit, but there's definitely a regression this season, and without adding quality, I mean, I'm trying my best not to be someone that's like just go buy all the players, but you definitely got to have something. You've got to have something different up there in an offensive standpoint, because the defense and everything is great. You don't need to improve that. The midfield, yeah, it could grow, but offensively, it looks, especially with no Saka, a lot of them look like they've run their race already. You're not going to get another 10 or 15 goals out of it from the looks of things from any of them. And that's what we need. We need someone that's going to potentially come in and set up 10 or 15 goals, especially with Saka. Like I said, I don't think he's going to play for the rest of the season. So you've got to find a way to get 10 or 15 goals. And that's the magic question. But yeah, I've nearly done half an hour on my own. I'm quite proud of that, actually. It's flown by. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, as always, for tuning in. I'll keep it short and sweet. I don't want to whittle and ramble on for any longer than I need to. But yeah, thanks for watching as always. Please leave a like, subscribe if you don't already, and enjoy the game tomorrow. And I will speak to you after it. And like I said, hopefully we'll get back to the old format where we've got plenty of people and it's not just me. You don't have to just sit listening to me whittle on. But yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the game. Have a good rest of your Saturday night and have a good weekend. All the best.